Back at it again, and we got a sad story out of Harris County, Houston, Texas, to be specific. I'm gonna play a couple of clips so that you guys have a little bit of backstory, and so you hear from the young lady's parents. Any parents watching, I'm gonna be honest, it's a tough one. It's a tough one to watch, but I do think talking about this kind of stuff is important. Right. But also there's a judge in this entire equation that just said the most ridiculous thing. And I'll show you guys that towards the end. All right. With that being said, let's dive in.
Jocelyn's mother tells me this doesn't feel real. She says she does not understand how anyone could hurt her 12-year-old daughter, who she describes as loving and kind.
It's hard. It's so hard.
Tears stream down Alexis Nungare's face as she speaks about her 12-year-old daughter, Jocelyn.
She was goofy. She always had her own little spunk. She never followed the crowd. She always stood up for what was right.
Jocelyn's family members showed up to the creek where her body was discovered Monday morning. When was the last time you saw her and spoke to her?
Right before I went to bed Sunday night. I told her not to stay up late. She was going to come with me to work. She said okay and good night.
How were you notified that she was found?
Quickly got in my car. I pinged her phone and it pinged right over there. And I ran, and that's what I saw. It's tape and officers, and I ran up to him, told him my daughter was missing. He wouldn't tell me anything. It wasn't until an hour later I got called to go downtown to talk about her whereabouts, and that's when I was given the information.
We obtained these surveillance videos showing Jocelyn at the 7-Eleven just after midnight. A witness tells me she asked for water. She returned with this man in a white hat. You can see she's on the phone. Nungare says she made a call to her 13-year-old boyfriend, who says he could hear two adults in the background. Have you been able to talk to him or know what they talked about?
I have no clue.
HPD released these photos of the two persons of interest. Nungare says she doesn't recognize them, but she hopes whoever is responsible is held accountable. What would you want them to know?
I want karma to hit them. I'm like angry that they took advantage of her. She's so young. She's 12. I want justice. I want them to come forward. I want whoever has seen them, please just, you took my baby away.
Alexis, you mentioned earlier that you feel compelled after the loss of your precious child to talk to the American people about this. Please take that opportunity and tell them what you want them to understand.
I want the nation all around the world to understand that she was a child. She was my child. She was my firstborn. She was a preteen that was slowly becoming this beautiful, beautiful young lady. And she was going so far. She had admiration of dreams and aspiring goals that she wanted to do in life. She was going to make it. She was going to do things. And these men, these illegal men, took that opportunity from my daughter, from our family, of watching her become this amazing person. So now, with her voice being ripped away from her, I am going to be her voice and stand strong and try to make a difference in this world, because this has got to stop. We have to stop burying our kids. This is not right. We have to have more reinforcement when it comes to letting people in. This is not okay. It's not okay.
She is 1000% correct. That is not okay. The individuals in this situation are two illegals from Venezuela who came into this country as far as I heard, in March. So recently, they were detained and then released. And unfortunately, went on to commit this horrific crime. I told you guys, especially for all parents, watching that was going to be tough. As most of y'all know, I have a kid myself, and man, let me tell you something. Man, I couldn't imagine, that's man. Sheesh. But, also something that came out of this situation was a judge in Houston, Texas, that said the most ridiculous thing. You just have to hear this. Check it out.
Yeah, it was mostly Judge Lena Hidalgo talking. She says evil happens regardless of immigration status. And she also spent time blaming Republicans for the conditions that led to Jocelyn's murder.
When the former president decided that he did not want Biden to have a win on immigration, he told his party to pull out of that agreement. So blaming things on the current immigration policy is absolutely political, and it really breaks my heart that people would politicize the sadness that tragedy. To me, it hurts even more that.
Hold on. Politicizing things, but then you brought up Trump. Instead of talking about the tragedy that happened and how to fix the situation, you brought up Trump and Republicans and tried to blame them. Even though one thing that they aren't talking about and that they never talk about is that Republicans passed a bill over a year ago. I want to say it's almost been 2 years now. H.R. 2, that would have closed the border completely. And yet the Senate leader, Democrat Senate leader, Chuck Schumer, has not taken that bill up for a vote. It's just been sitting on his desk. But nobody wants to talk about that, though. Everybody just skips over that. It's just Republicans' fault. But everybody fails, well, not everybody, all of you know, but mainstream media fails to mention that there has been a border bill that Republicans passed, I would say almost 2 years ago. H.R. 2. It's been sitting on Chuck Schumer's desk. Like, it's amazing how they just ignore that completely. Which I definitely think, because I'm sick and tired of this bullshit. Excuse my language, but we have to fix that in this country. There's no reason why the media should be able to get on national television and lie to the American people. Just blatantly lie. Oh, it's Trump's fault. It's Trump's fault. It's Trump's fault. No, it's not. It's Biden's fault. Biden's been on camera admitting that the border was closed and that he was going to open it. I've shown those videos 1,000,000,001 times. Okay, even Mayorkas got on camera and said something to the effect of, it would take us so much time to talk about all of the border policies that we've gotten rid of from Trump's term. They said it. They got rid of the closed border policies to open up the border. And Joe Biden this whole time was, first he said, oh, there's no border, there's no issue at the border, there's nothing going on. Then it was, once it became super obvious to everybody and they couldn't continue to lie about it, which they shouldn't have been lying about it in the first place, but once it became super obvious, then it was, oh, well, I've done all I could do, I can't do anymore. Then once it became obvious that his poll numbers were continuing to tank, oh, now I'm going to sign an executive order to fix the border, which that didn't do anything. And I showed you guys the clip from CNN, as well as I want to say it was MSNBC as well. Both of those reporters from both companies both said, this executive order really doesn't do anything. That was just for show. He could sign an executive order that actually did something. So they've just been lying about it this entire time. And so has the media. And that should not be allowed in this country. If you are going to be on what I call the Fab Five, you know, those channels that you get when you just plug in an antenna to your television, just the regular, I call them the Fab Five, right? You may call it something else. But anyway, if you're allowed, if you're on one of the Fab Five, you should not be allowed to blatantly lie. I'm just sick of it. I know people are going to say Rich, First Amendment, but this is just BS. It's just gone way too far at this point. you know? But that's just my humble opinion. Y'all can let me know, but let's continue.
It hurts even more that they're being used as pawns in this fight over immigration that doesn't even exist because Biden and McConnell agree. It's just that Trump won't let them move it forward.
All due respect, Judge, you said this issue shouldn't be politicized, but by pointing the finger at former President Trump and Republicans in Congress, aren't you politicizing it?
I think I answered the question. So, yeah, I mean, this is about Jocelyn. This is about her family, and if we want to,
Judge,
as I said, talk about immigration,
you didn't answer the question. Are you politicizing this by pointing the finger at Republicans and saying it's their fault, not the fault of the Biden administration that lifted the Remain in Mexico policies?
Again, the Biden administration reached an agreement with Leader McConnell to address this, but this is not about immigration. I'm not going to feed into that.
Oh my goodness. You know, that part was funny. The rest isn't, right? The fact that you could sit there and politicize it, but then say that it shouldn't be politicized, and when you get called out about it, oh, well, I'm not going to talk about it. Like, what the That's a judge. That is a judge. I just want to make that clear. That's a judge in America. Yeah. How incredible is that? How incredible is that? A sitting judge. Yeah. But like I said, one thing she fails to mention is that Republicans passed the bill a long time ago. But Chuck Schumer, who's the leader of the Senate, Democrat leader of the Senate, refuses to take it up for a vote. But it's all of a sudden Trump and Republicans' fault. And, you know, all of these folks that say that in the media and this terrible judge, I guarantee you they haven't even read the bill that they attempted to pass. The bill that they attempted to pass didn't even close the border. It just legalized what's already happening at the border. That's all it did. Excuse me. That's legitimately all it did. So this whole talk of, oh, well, you know, it's Republicans' fault because, you know, they didn't want to pass the bill that Joe Biden and Mitch McConnell agreed to, whatever. That's a load of crap. Load of crap. Take up HR 2 for a vote. Talk about HR 2. You know, whenever they talk about, you know, all of this illegal immigration, they never bring up HR 2. Have y'all noticed that? They never bring it up. Not once have I heard them talk about it at all. They all know about it. They all know. But they never speak about it. See, that should not be allowed. This gamesmanship with mainstream media, who is supposed to tell us the news, that should not be allowed. Shouldn't be allowed at all whatsoever in this country. But that's just my humble opinion on it. Y'all let me know your thoughts and your opinions on all of this. You know, my condolences go out to, you know, the family of the young lady. It's just an absolutely tragic situation. Like I said, I couldn't imagine having to go through something like that. Sheesh. There would be hellfire and brimstone raining down on whatever city, you know, they took my child to. Oh my goodness. Anyway, y'all stay safe out there. Peace and love. I'm out.